Nothing says Merry Christmas like your own family staging a roast with you as the punchline. I'm Kevin, 35, and I've always been the one who tried to keep the peace in our family. That's not a humble brag, it's a survival tactic. You see, my family doesn't do subtle. Every gathering is like a reality show reunion special. My younger brother, Nate, 32, plays the role of golden child with an obnoxious flair. My parents dote on him like he's some misunderstood genius, even though he's bounced through more business ventures than I've had tax seasons. My older sister, Renee, is cut from the same cloth, loud, petty, and quick to declare war over the wrong side of mashed potatoes. Meanwhile, I've always been the one in the background, calm, quiet, financially stable, and the first person everyone calls when their Wi-Fi's down or their rent's late. Growing up, I was the responsible one, which in family terms meant the one who doesn't make a scene and knows how to fix things. So I fixed things. Helped with bills when my dad lost his job. Paid for Nate's DUI lawyer. Covered Renee's tuition gap one semester without a single thank you. I didn't do it for gratitude. I did it because that's how I thought family worked. You show up, even when they don't ask nicely. You help, even when they pretend they never needed you to. But lately, something had shifted. It started small. I'd arrive at family dinners and find my name missing from the place cards. When I asked about it, Mom would say, "Oh, Kevin, you don't mind, do you?" and motion for me to grab a chair from the garage. If I brought wine, someone would laugh that it was the cheap kind, even if it was a $40 bottle. Little comments, barely veiled jabs. Some people think money replaces personality, or the classic, "Must be nice to be alone and selfish." I swallowed it all, every time, because I told myself they don't mean it. They're just being themselves. Then came the Christmas invitations. Or, rather, the lack of one. I only found out the dinner was still happening because my aunt let it slip in a group chat. "See you all at Mom's on the 24th, she'd written. When I asked my mom about it, she replied with, "Oh, I thought you were busy, sweetheart. You're always working." That would have stung less if I hadn't already booked the whole week off months ago and emailed everyone in September. Still, I showed up, dressed nice, gift in hand, a small, crisp envelope in my inner coat pocket. I'd planned to surprise my brother and his wife with a generous gesture, a check that would cover the down payment on their new fixer-upper. Nate had been moaning for months about how they were so close, but just needed a miracle to make it happen. He never asked directly. He never had to. My parents dropped enough hints every conversation. That night, the house was loud with holiday music and even louder personalities. I knocked. No one answered. I let myself in. No one greeted me. Not even a glance. I caught my mom's eye. She looked startled, then forced a quick smile. "Kevin, you came." "Yeah," I said. Thought I'd surprise everyone. Dad gave me the once-over from his recliner and grunted. "Didn't think you'd bother." Dinner was already halfway served. No plate for me. No seat. I stood awkwardly, clutching my gift bag while Nate made some exaggerated joke about late guests thinking they're VIPs. The only available chair was a wobbly folding one in the corner. I pulled it up and sat next to the hallway, partially blocked by the coat rack. For 20 minutes, I nodded along to shallow conversations about golf clubs and YouTube renovation tips while Renee complained about her boss, expecting her to actually work in a management position. Eventually, things quieted. Mom lit the candles. Dessert came out. And Nate stood up. He clinked his glass dramatically with the back of a spoon. Hey, everybody. Little announcement. Family vote happened while someone was off doing whatever he does. He raised his glass and grinned. We've decided to make things official. Kevin's cut off. Everyone burst out laughing. Mom covered her face, trying to hide her giggles. Renee clapped like he'd won a talent show. Even my dad chuckled under his breath. Cut off, I said, calmly, even as my stomach turned. Yeah, Nate continued, grinning at me like a cat with a cornered mouse. No more bankrolling your little pity projects. No more swooping in like some hero. We're done playing second fiddle to St. Kevin. You don't get to make us feel bad for not having what you have. For a second, I just sat there. The room buzzed with self-satisfied smirks. I felt it, a kind of click inside me. Not rage. Not even sadness. Just clarity. The kind you get when you finally stop trying to fix what's broken and realize it's not your job to save a sinking ship when the crew's drilling holes. I stood up slowly, brushed a bit of lint off my jacket. Then I reached into my inner pocket and pulled out the envelope. The one with a check for $25,000 made out to my brother and his wife. Their names written in perfect ink. ready to be the miracle they'd been waiting for. I held it in my hand for a beat. Then I smiled, looked right at Nate, and said, "Then you won't be needing this." The room went dead silent. My mom's eyes flicked to the envelope. She blinked like she was trying to process what just happened. My dad leaned forward. Nate's grin faltered, replaced by confusion, then disbelief, and something uglier. His wife gasped. "Wait, is that?" But I wasn't looking at them anymore. I turned, slowly folded the envelope, slid it back into my coat, and buttoned it shut. And just as Nate opened his mouth to speak, probably to backpedal or accuse or deflect, I cut him off with a smile so rehearsed, it felt like a muscle memory I didn't know I had. "Nate," I said, casually adjusting my sleeve. "You wanted to make things official. I'm just following your lead." There was a beat of silence, then a sputter from my dad. "Wait now, hold on. What is this?" "I think you heard me," I said, my voice even. "You all voted. I'm out. Which means you don't get to ask me for anything anymore. Not rides, not money, not favors, and definitely not $25,000 for a house you haven't even finished painting." Nate's face turned a shade darker. "Kev, come on, man. It was just a joke." "No," I said. "A joke is calling someone a Grinch for bringing sugar-free pie. What you did, that was planned. That speech didn't come out of nowhere. You knew what you were doing." "But it wasn't personal," he stammered, casting a panicked look around the room. "We were just messing with you." That's when his wife spoke, her voice low and sharp. "Was that really a check? You had money for us, and you were going to give it tonight?" I turned to her, softer now. "Yes, that was the plan. I was going to surprise you both. I figured maybe this Christmas I could do something meaningful for once. Help you get a fresh start." Then I met her eyes. "But you know what else is meaningful? Boundaries." Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked away. I turned back to Nate, who was now shifting in place, arms crossed like a teenager getting scolded. "You've spent years twisting the narrative so you can keep playing the underdog. Every time I help, you act like it's a burden on you. And when I stop helping, I'm selfish. You can't have it both ways, man." Renee scoffed. "Okay, wow. Are we really making this about you now?" I looked at her. "You literally clapped when I got cut off. Don't pretend to be the moral compass." She rolled her eyes, but didn't say anything else, which, in Renee terms, was as close to an apology as I'd ever get. "Kev," my mom said finally, her voice quiet, like she was trying to sound both concerned and maternal. "You know your brother didn't mean to upset you. This family, we have our flaws. But we love you. Do you?" I asked, honestly, not accusatory, not angry, just tired. Because lately it feels like love only counts if I'm paying for it. No one responded. That silence, that was the real gift of the evening. It told me everything I needed to know. So I nodded. "All right. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope the pie's good." And I turned to leave. But as I stepped into the hallway and reached for my coat, I heard Nate's voice behind me, louder now, desperate. "So what? You're just gonna walk out? Take your little check and go play hero somewhere else." I paused at the door. "No, Nate," I said, glancing back over my shoulder. "I'm going to go enjoy a quiet evening without being insulted by people I've spent half my life supporting." Then I opened the door, stepped into the cold, and closed it behind me. I got into my car, parked at the edge of the driveway, because of course, my spot had been taken by one of Renee's friends, and just sat there for a moment, breathing, processing. The envelope still sat in my coat, untouched. That money, it would go to something better. Maybe a scholarship fund, maybe a donation, maybe just a vacation for myself. For once, as I pulled out, I saw Nate step onto the porch, phone in hand. He was calling someone. Maybe me, maybe someone else. Didn't matter. For the first time in years, I wasn't going to answer. But that wasn't the end. Because 5 days later, I got a call from my parents' bank. And that's when things got really interesting. It was a Thursday morning when I got the voicemail. I had just stepped out of the shower, coffee brewing in the kitchen, my phone flashing with a missed call from an unknown number. I played the message on speaker as I toweled off. "Hi, this is Janice. We're calling to verify some recent activity on a joint account you may be associated with. Please return our call at your earliest convenience." Joint account? I frowned and set the towel down. I hadn't been on any joint account since I helped my parents refinance their mortgage years ago. That account had been dormant. At least, it was supposed to be. I hadn't thought about it in ages. Curious, I called back. After confirming my identity, Janice sounded relieved. "Yes, Mr. Daniels. Thank you for getting back to us. We've noticed a series of large withdrawal attempts, 3 in the past 24 hours, on the Daniels account ending in 7249. Your name is still on file as a cosigner. My heart dropped. I rubbed my temples. What kind of withdrawals? Attempts to pull $5,000, then $8,500, then a third request for $10,000. All denied. Insufficient funds. But they tried to push it through as an overdraft extension several times. I was quiet for a second. Who initiated the withdrawals? There was a brief pause. That information is protected, but the access point was a mobile device registered under another primary account holder, Thomas Daniels. My father. I thanked her, asked for statements to be emailed, and hung up. The pieces clicked together in a slow, nauseating crawl. They knew I had money. They always knew. But what I hadn't realized until now, what made my stomach twist, was that I hadn't just been supporting my family. I'd been protecting them. My name on that old account? It had acted like a shield. With me attached, the bank must have been more lenient with fees, limits, extensions. They never removed me, and I never thought to ask. I pulled up the email from the bank. There it was, my name, still active on the account, still liable, still their safety net, and they had tried to drain it. Not even a week after that dinner. After cutting me off. After making a spectacle out of banishing me from the family finances. I laughed, but it wasn't a funny laugh. It was hollow. Disbelief. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling, the sound of my own pulse loud in my ears. They hadn't cut me off. They were trying to cash me out. The knock came that afternoon. Not on my front door, but on my inbox. A long message from my mom. Hey, sweetheart. We wanted to talk to you about Christmas. Maybe things got a little out of hand. You know how your brother is. He didn't mean anything by it. I think we all just got carried away. Let's have dinner this weekend and talk, okay? Also, we're having a few issues with the bank again. Could use your eyes on it. Love you. Mom. I stared at the screen for a long time. No apology. No ownership. Just soft-spoken manipulation wrapped in guilt. And of course, there it was. The real reason. The bank. Not the fight. Not the way I was treated. But the fact that their little money faucet had started gurgling. I didn't respond. The next day, my dad called. No voicemail. Just a missed call. Then another. Then another. By Sunday, I had 7 missed calls from my parents. 2 from Renee. 1 from a number I didn't recognize, but I had a hunch it was Nate. And finally, a group text from Renee. You're being dramatic. We didn't actually mean cut off. It was a joke. Don't blow this out of proportion. That was the breaking point. The audacity of pretending I was the one overreacting. That they were the victims of my silence. So I opened my laptop, pulled up the paperwork from Wayfair Credit Union, called their office and asked for one thing. My name removed from the account. They hesitated at first, said it might take a few days. I insisted. I'd been a cosigner. I never touched the funds. I had proof they were attempting to withdraw money without my knowledge. I signed the digital documents they sent over and got written confirmation. I was officially no longer connected to that account. But I didn't stop there, because I remembered something else. Years ago, when I helped Nate get approved for his first car loan, I'd co-signed. I'd trusted him to take care of it eventually. He paid for a while, then refinanced, or so I thought. But I dug through my email archives, and guess what? My name still lingered on that loan as a dormant co-signer. The same went for a shared family plan on my old cell account. Things I hadn't thought about in years. Quiet connections, quietly abused. I spent the next 48 hours cleaning house. One by one, I extricated myself from every financial tie, every liability, every safety net they might lean on. By the time Monday morning hit, I was free. And that's when the texts turned angry. You froze the account? Seriously? Are you trying to mess us over? You know Dad needs that money for the taxes. You've really changed. And not for the better. I guess all that money made you cold. You think you're better than us now? I didn't respond. Not out of spite. Not even because I didn't care. But because I'd finally learned that silence doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes, silence is the loudest no you can give. But then, just when things seemed to be settling, I got a call I didn't expect. It wasn't from my parents. Or Nate. Or Renee. It was from Nate's wife. Her voice was shaky. Tired. And what she told me next changed everything. She called me late, past midnight. I was already half asleep when my phone buzzed, her name blinking across the screen. I hesitated, then picked up. Hello. There was silence at first. Then a breath. "It's me," she said. "Amanda." I sat up. "Is everything okay?" She didn't answer that. Instead, she said, "I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I didn't know about the check, about any of it." Her voice cracked slightly, like she'd been holding something in all day. "They didn't tell me what really happened that night," she said. "Nate just said you stormed off and made some dramatic exit. I didn't know about the money. I didn't know about the bank." I stayed quiet. I learned it was better to let people talk. "When I saw that envelope," she continued, "I recognized the handwriting. I saw it in the trash when I was taking out wrapping paper. It was torn in half. I taped it back together." She paused again. "It was a check. For $25,000. From you. To us. For the house." I sighed. "Yeah, that was the plan." She didn't speak for a moment. Then she said, "He never told me. He never even thanked you. Instead, he threw it away like it was some insult." That stung a little more than I expected. But I just said, "That's Nate." "No," she said. "It's not just Nate. It's your whole family. I've been trying to pretend it was just their way of showing love, being loud, being real. But after what I saw this week," she took a shaky breath. "I packed a bag. I left the house 2 hours ago. I'm at my sister's." Now I was fully awake. "You're leaving Nate?" "I think I already did," she said. "Kevin, he tried to open a credit card in your name." I froze. "What?" "He thought I wouldn't notice. But I've been watching the mail more closely lately. It came 2 days ago, addressed to you, but at our house. He said it was a mistake, that he was just trying to help you build credit since you never spend any of your money. But I checked. He used your old social, the one from your college documents. Somehow, he still had it." I felt sick. "And your mom," she continued, her voice rising slightly. "She knew. She said she didn't condone it, but also that family helps family, and that you were being too prideful. Like this was some kind of lesson they were teaching you." There was silence. My pulse thudded in my ears. "I'm so sorry," Amanda whispered. "I really didn't know. But I don't want to be part of this anymore. I don't want to raise a family in that house. I thought you deserved to know." "Thank you," I said quietly. "I'm going to file a report," she said. "I'll testify if you need me to." "You don't deserve this." I didn't realize I was gripping the phone so tightly until my hands started to cramp. "You didn't either," I said. "You deserve better than a family that treats people like bank accounts." We hung up a few minutes later. I sat in the dark, processing everything. The check, the account, the attempted fraud, and Amanda choosing to walk away from it all. By morning, I had a plan. First, I called my lawyer. We had a long talk. I forwarded him everything: emails from the bank, screenshots from Amanda, old documents from the car loan, and the co-signed mortgage. He told me I had a case, especially with Amanda willing to back it up. Then I reported the attempted identity theft, filed all the paperwork, froze my credit, sent in notarized letters to every lender who had me listed as a co-signer. And one by one, I dismantled every legal, financial, and contractual connection I had to anyone in that family. Then, I wrote a single email. Just one. I sent it to my entire family: parents, siblings, cousins, everyone. It read, "You made your choice at Christmas. I'm simply honoring it. The joint accounts are closed. The co-signed loans are dissolved. The safety nets are gone. You've treated my support like entitlement, my kindness like weakness, and my silence like approval. You will no longer have access to my credit, my name, or my patience. If you attempt to open anything in my name again, I will press charges. If you contact me for anything financial, I will block you. This is not a punishment. This is a boundary. And you don't get to vote on it." Kevin. I didn't expect responses, but I got them. Renee replied with one line, "You're so full of yourself." Nate didn't respond at all, but Amanda texted to say he was furious, yelling, throwing things. She sent a photo of his office with shredded paper all over the floor. I zoomed in. One corner of the photo showed the envelope. My envelope. Now properly destroyed. Mom called and left a voicemail. Her voice was shaking. "This is going too far, Kevin. We're still your family." I didn't call back. "Dad?" Silent as usual. But Amanda later told me he was the one who tried to go to the bank and reverse the account removal. He failed. Weeks passed. The family group chat, which I was still technically a part of, went eerily quiet. Then, one day, it disappeared. Renee must have created a new one without me. I never asked. It was weird, at first. Holidays rolled around. I didn't get the passive-aggressive invite or the last-minute guilt trip calls. Birthdays passed. No text from Mom. No fake enthusiasm from Nate. Just silence. And in that silence, I healed. I took that $25,000 check and rewrote it to myself. I put it toward a cabin I'd always dreamed of owning, far away from the noise. Somewhere quiet, with mountains and space to breathe. Amanda eventually filed for divorce. We kept in touch for a while, then drifted. But every now and then, she sends a holiday card with a photo of her new life. She looks happy. Me? I'm good. Better than I've ever been. Because the truth is, when they cut me off, they didn't realize they were setting me free. And that, in the end, was the best Christmas gift I ever got.